All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We had a little surprise change in plans. We got ourselves invited down to the Trenton Terror game. So we are down in New Jersey right now, getting ready to hang out, watch this game. Should be super exciting. But that's not why people tune into this channel. We tune into this channel to hear about the NLL. So unfortunately, Rodney Redeye is sick this weekend and unable to join us. But we will still have our affiliate Owen on at some point. And before that, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the scores. So last week you had Toronto beat Riptide. This is a huge game for Toronto. They kind of reestablished themselves, got back into the feel of it. Toronto always used to be a good team. They've had a rough start to the season. Then you had Buffalo beating Georgia 18-9, double the score. It's a huge thing. The Thompson brothers, it wasn't. They need to. Georgia needs to figure it out. Buffalo looks like they're on fire. They look like they've taken it personally ever since Albany beat them in the first game of the year, and they've kind of made sure they're trying to right that trend, and it's going to be a good run. On that note, Halifax 14, Albany 11. Another great game for Albany. Just like the Rochester game, they weren't able to close it out. And that's what Albany's going to have to do. If they want to make it further in this league, they got to get guys scoring more than 10, 11 goals. You need to get a couple guys on your team, at least one guy on your team get a hat trick. It's a great way that they're doing it with their team offense. But last week, their transition guys didn't quite get as many goals as they're used to. And when that happens, not having Resetaris, not having Q, not having Benesh, you're starting to see what's happening there. And Vancouver continuing to slide, although this was a much better game for them again against San Diego, who is going on to take Calgary. But the Calgary and Colorado game, we'll talk about when Owen jumps on. But Vancouver, much better. They only lost one quarter. It was definitely an improvement. New York, Riptide, on the other hand, need to figure it out. They're like over coach, and I believe Vancouver going to cheat out. But this week, Albany gets a chance to go back to Halifax now for the home and home, and hopefully redeem themselves. Saskatchewan is going to take back Colorado. This is a huge game for Saskatchewan. They need to either start establishing themselves to get the guys like Marshall Collins, some of the other younger guys to start scoring, and can't completely rely on Church. I think that's a huge factor. As long as they're able to pull that off, Saskatchewan should be doing pretty good out in the West. Colorado, on the other hand, was Pacific players last week. They were able to beat Calgary, but they only scored 9 goals. 9 goals is not going to be enough to beat Saskatchewan. You got Church and crew up there. No way 9 goals is going to be enough. And then Halifax is playing 2 games this weekend. They've got a game in Toronto the next night, and that is going to be a huge game. In the East, I expect Toronto to come out on top. Halifax is playing Albany. Albany is a tough team. They fly up and down the floor, a lot of energy. Tough to play back-to-back games and believe in Albany. I definitely go with Toronto on that one. Panther City's taking on the Wings. The Wings want to continue the streak that they moved on last week. They moved in the right direction. Panther City on the other hand also needs a big turnaround too. They start winning games and prove that they can do it without Jeremy Thompson. They've been doing okay. They need to find the goal scoring. Their second year, they're still a young team there. Georgia and Buffalo. Georgia needs to do something different. They need to stop the skid. But I can't pick against Buffalo. In Buffalo, good luck with that. San Diego and Calgary. We talk about me and Owen. You'll be able to hear that one. Las Vegas and Vancouver. This is a huge game for both of these teams. They're both on the skid. Las Vegas, it's in Vancouver. This is a chance for them to win. But Vancouver, on the other hand, these young guys start scoring. They could turn it up a lot. This is a huge game. Both of those teams, basically, who's going to be the bottom of the West? Who's going to turn it around and try to make a run at it? And then we've got a Sunday game, which is Rochester at New York. New York is trying to make some changes. You don't see it being enough. Rochester is going to fly in, come on top. You got the Connor Field show. You got Hogarth playing amazing. Ryan Smith is starting to light it up. You just don't see anybody being able to beat Rochester, especially New York team. But that's why the games are played. And
so we've got Owen Falk from joining us from Calgary, and you were not able to watch this game because it was in Colorado, obviously.
Yeah, but I viewed it on TV, and it was a well-fought battle from both sides, I found.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, they got out to a nice early lead, and things were really looking good for them off the start. And then, like you said, it just kind of tit for tat came back and forth, but it just seemed like the ball kind of didn't want to roll your way.
Yeah, no, from what I saw, Calgary had a hard time hitting the back of the net after the second half, and that's kind of how Colorado managed to come back.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, Calgary came out and King did what King has been doing at the beginning of the
Yeah,
game, and then at the end he just he wasn't able to, and then taking that penalty towards the end of the game, that was a big, like, bonehead move. And I don't know if it was just because he was frustrated because of that, or
yeah. Speaking about that, actually, there wasn't a whole lot of penalty minutes. Surprisingly enough, there was only like 10 minutes between both teams.
yeah, the refs kind of put their whistles in the pocket and let the boys play. It
Yeah,
really, I mean, and the calls that were made were definite calls, and it's not like they were just letting everything go where they weren't calling anything. But I think the refs did a pretty good job on it, which was a nice turnaround, because I know the last game you watched, you were telling me not all the fans were enthused.
oh yeah, no, they weren't. But there was a few things I thought the refs missed at times where I'm like, that was not a clean hit, but I'm not there.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
tough. So how are you feeling? You had ACL surgery. You feeling
I,
better?
yeah,
And you were able to watch the game on
yeah, yeah. Funny story. For some reason, the TSN app wasn't functioning the way it was supposed to, so I actually streamed it off my computer from the TSN website. Yeah, comes in handy when I'm a little tech savvy.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, because you actually that's what I was told by Scott, was you are the social media guy. He said you would be in touch
I
with me very
am.
soon.
Yeah, totally.
You're you're all over it. And are you running the Thunder Monkeys page too?
I am indeed. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. So anybody watching wants to check that out. But Scott was nice enough to give us the stats again, which is awesome. And
Yeah.
like we were talking about, Calgary 2-1 at the end of the first quarter, King and pace, and they were looking
Yep.
great in that first quarter. And then 5-2 at halftime. And
Yep.
it wasn't like they completely shut down. It wasn't a terrible second half. They just
No, like the defense was doing okay. It was just a harder time hitting the back of the net, I found.
yeah. And one thing I noticed was they started kind of giving extra opportunities almost.
Yeah.
They were letting that guy get behind him. Like, they seemed a little, like, I
Yeah.
don't know if it was tired or jet lag just coming out in the half, but
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, coming out of the half, you're right. They just didn't show up very much.
no, they let a few guys behind him, and their sticks were off by just a little bit. Dylan Ward, like I said, wow, he
Yeah.
your goalie really can't get cold at all. And one thing I noticed that Calgary was struggling with is they usually get a couple goals out of Simpson or a couple of the transition plays, and Del Bianco
Yeah.
and Simpson, just Ward was able to shut down Simpson when he got a couple of them and a
Yeah.
couple of the other guys.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing. I think that's a team like that, they got to be able to get those transition goals.
Yeah, no, totally, and that's a lot of how Calgary plays is gets transition off Delb's pass, and then they shoot it down the field and usually connects, but it wasn't connecting very hot that game.
No, and as one thing I did notice is there was a little while there, they most of their goals actually did come off power plays. Like, that's really what
Yeah,
seemed to be what allowed to kind of get the Mammoth back in the game, because 5-on-5, like you said, it was a very evenly matched game, but having that
yeah,
extra guy, you just can't account for him in the ball movement of Colorado,
yeah,
and they were missing some guys, and they still were snapping it around.
yeah. No, they proved why they're returning champs, right? So
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it right there. Is I think that's basically what Calgary's missing, is they don't quite have that it guy. Like, King at
yeah,
the end of the game wasn't able to be that guy. They kind of need
totally.
him to be that guy.
Yeah,
Now, one thing watching the game that I noticed was you guys were able to get the Calgary's first round draft pick, Seth Van Sheppen, was able to get his first NLL goal. That must have been pretty
yeah,
cool.
that was pretty cool indeed, and Yeah, he definitely stepped up, got a goal. Hopefully he gets a few more this weekend against San Diego.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think that you guys kind of need is to get those goals from some of those other guys. And I actually
Yeah,
just saw.
totally. Because a lot of our pool right now is a lot of the younger guys who don't necessarily have as much NLL experience, who are like fresh to the league, and we're leaning on more of those older guys to do the scoring when some of those younger guys still need to step up as well.
And that's kind of what you saw is when you have
Yeah,
a team like that that has to spread the offense out. If
totally.
if if those younger guys aren't involved, the Firewolves play a pretty similar style with they
Yeah,
really share the offense and they're heavy on the transition side, and
yeah,
that's where when they aren't able to get those goals. But I mean, 57 shots they had on Ward, so it's not like they weren't shooting.
yeah. No, exactly.
And that was the thing. Really, you would think with a score under double digits like that, that it wouldn't have been a game. But wow, what an exciting game! It didn't
Yeah,
seem like it was.
it was crazy. Like, especially during the last quarter, how Calgary brought on the 6-on-4 man, and it was nerve wracking to try and get that last goal.
Yeah, and that's where like the pass across the front and King's just not able to hold on to it.
Yeah,
And they had a couple kind of miscues like that. They missed the net on the shot before that, and that's where the experience comes. So that is one bright side for Calgary. But the real question
totally.
I think is, can Calgary keep this team together? They keep losing all their players
Yeah.
to what's this team? I think you guys are playing them this weekend.
San Diego, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
and but watching that game last not this last one, but the weekend before when they played San Diego, if
yeah.
Calgary can play like they did in that second half, I like to say they've got a great chance.
Totally agree with you. Yeah, if Calgary can play like they did in the second half and shut down San Diego, then I see them doing quite well this weekend. And they now have seen what San Diego is capable of when going against them, so they kind of know what to expect a little bit more.
Yeah, and I would imagine King's gonna have a chip on his shoulder for the way that game ended. He
Oh yeah,
started on fire, and
yeah,
this is where I think you're gonna see if he I think it's a big game for the team next week because you're gonna see if King
totally.
can be that leader.
Yeah,
And they need him to be.
yeah, no, totally. I definitely think King can be that leader for sure. It's just growing into the role slowly. He just needs to do that a bit more.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly, and the only way to really get that experience is to be, keep doing it. You're gonna lose some like this, and it's really about the
Yeah,
what they do next week because it's only a
totally.
loss if you don't learn.
Yeah, exactly. It's learning from your mistakes, right?
Absolutely, I like how you said that. And what is your biggest takeaway from the game in Colorado as far as what Calgary really needs to pay attention to going forward?
I mean, Zach Courier was good as always on the loose balls. Getting those loose balls and getting on transition seems to work really well for Calgary, for sure.
Yeah, no, like you said, the when Calgary's winning, they're doing all those little battles right. I've actually got a couple
Yeah,
clips of them knocking down passes, staying on guys, getting the loose ball. And that
yeah,
was a big
totally.
thing is when Colorado was really able to take advantage of it was when Calgary
Was
had,
slacking, yeah.
right, they have 3 or 4 possessions and then they'd get them
Yeah.
tired. Or then it really just seemed I don't know, it wasn't a takeaway from either team as much as
No,
it was just a
exactly. I
battle.
th- I thought because they're reigning champs that it was going to be a blowout, but it wasn't that at all.
I think Calgary is the dark horse in the West right now. I think
Yeah,
Vancouver.
totally. I feel the same way. Like we're gonna go very underestimated this season, but surprise a lot of people on how far we go with playoffs. Hopefully,
Well, one big thing is too, you see it a lot. Like last year, Halifax did it. They came out to a huge lead. San Diego came out to a big start, and then Colorado, who didn't start very well,
yeah,
ended up coming back and winning. And that's kind of what you need is these teams that maybe don't start so well, but learn as they go. And you want to
yeah,
be
totally.
coming on at the right time of year. So I think, yeah, no, I definitely think Calgary could be the dark horse coming out of there. Vancouver didn't look too bad. They looked better than they have in weeks past, but
Yeah. No, I think definitely Calgary is a little bit underestimated right now, and a lot of I actually talked to my buddy Jeff Cornwall today over message, and it sounds like the guys are going in prepared and ready to be back at Salvo.
Absolutely. So what do you think they need to do? We talked about them shutting down San Diego, which is a hard task, but with Del Bianco and that, what do you think is going to be the bigger thing for them? Is it going to be making sure they get that guy to get the transition goals, or is it going to be getting that settled offense and finding who that leader is going to be to carry you through those must-need goals?
I believe that's going to be about the defense and shutting Curtis and Dane down for sure. And as long as Delves can do his job like I know he can, he's one of the best goalies in the league. So I think that defense is going to be a key factor.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, that being said though, you think anytime you can keep a team under 10 goals
Yeah,
that you've got a pretty good chance to win. And they were able to do that this
totally.
last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, as always, it's been awesome. Thank you so much, Owen. We'll be in touch. Like I said, hopefully next week I'll have it figured out, or I'll send you the highlights ahead of time. So
Okay.
that way you can kind of see. And then if there's any big plays of the game that you catch, send me a message. Be like, hey, at this time during the game, this
Yeah,
was like the turnaround play, because I think like you said, like there was a couple of small plays that I think really kind of set that apart.
totally.
Just not getting those transition goals. I think that's the
Yeah,
big thing. They got to kind of they didn't capitalize. They had other than the rookie, but I mean, if he's going to start doing that, if he can get 2 a game instead, or you
yeah,
guys got it seems like almost every team you need one guy to get a hat trick.
totally.
And who do you think can be that guy for Calgary? Do you think it's going to be Pace, or do you think it'll be King?
I think we could. It could be Pace for sure. If not, Zach is one of my good buddies. He's a really good all around guy. He'll get the loose ball. He'll shoot. He'll make sure the plays get made. I think Zach could get potentially even be that guy.
Yeah, yeah, it's and that's what you need though, is you need somebody to really step up and be that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Owen. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Greg.
And we'll be back next week with our full lineup, hopefully a little better without this random thing in the middle. Huge thank you to my son, Jared. Without him, none of this would have been recorded. He stepped up big and made sure he took care of it for me, and it's going to get this video uploaded for you guys at some point today. So thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.